So chat, for those of you that don't know, Brandon and I have been talking a lot through DMs and voice calls recently. He's actually become a fairly good friend over the last couple weeks. We met up at Gamescom 2025. Met a lot of great content creators there. He and his girlfriend Viv are really, really good people. But he did a video earlier, just popped up on my feed, titled HoYoverse Need to Slow Down. And I'm assuming this is in reference to the new Honkai Nexus anima game that was rolled out. And I want to take a look because I'm curious. We actually haven't really discussed very deeply the topic of Nexus anima, so I'm curious what his thoughts are. I think a few of his recent videos on my feed seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. Yeah, no, the guy, he's a good guy. We've talked a lot. I think I've talked to Brand more than any other person in the last month, for better or for worse.
This is going to be a bit of a different type of video. I kind of want to just talk to you guys about something that I've kind of noticed over the past few years, actually. So I started Genshin Impact back in like 2021, 2022-ish.
That's a long time.
Since then, they've actually released quite a few more games. They released Honkai Star Rail, they released Zenless Zone Zero.
Best Hoyo game, by the way.
Currently in the process of releasing the new Honkai Anima Nexus, or Nexus Anima, I think it's called. And it made me kind of think about something through definitely a critical lens, but the reason Genshin Impact became a thing was because HoYoverse obviously made numerous games before that too.
Gun Girl Z
things
and Twos of Themis.
That pattern. HoYoverse first came out with like Fly Me to the Moon, and then like Gun Girl Z, right. I think it was a bunch of other games. Honkai Impact 3rd was one of the biggest before Genshin that they came out with and released, right? And it was great for a long time. But they even have games like Tears of Themis, which is like I think
very obscure
like an otome game.
Husbando, yeah.
Kind of like a Love and Deep Space-esque thing, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And it made me think, dude, like, all of the...
It made him think, what the fuck are they doing? Why do they have so many goddamn games? Why are they trying to market to every single subgenre of gaming? Or at the very least, that's what I thought.
These games are great in their own regard, right? However, I feel like in recent years, Hoyo were kind of just pumping out games. Genshin Impact there was a decent amount of time between that and Honkai Star Rail. I feel like
2 years, 3 years.
Honkai Star Rail comes out, and then within
1 year later
or two, it's Zenless Zone Zero, and then within a year.
Although I do want to point out that at the very least, money, 100% money. But at the very least, I feel like each of Hoyo's games have gotten progressively higher quality, right? Genshin was really good for the time it released at, and then Honkai Star Rail was a stark improvement over Genshin Impact, and then Zenless Zone Zero was even better, had better character models, better storytelling, more friendly to players than even Star Rail was. So I think they've gotten progressively better, but Honkai Nexus Anima, I don't know. That doesn't look as good as ZZZ to me.
Brought to it's this new Honkai Nexus Anima, and I'm kind of sat here and I'm looking at
gacha for every genre,
and the communities around these games, and there's always going to be people that love everything about a game and hate everything about a game. But even the kind of middle ground people, I like to consider myself one of those. I love a lot of things about Genshin and dislike a lot of things, and same with Honkai Star Rail.
Although I think that's... So I'm the kind of person that thinks you can really, truly criticize something the bigger a fan you are of it. As an example, I'm a huge fan of Nikke, but I think the gacha skins are terrible. I think the wall you hit, where you need to upgrade your characters to progress, that's stupid. I think like there are a lot of games that have a lot of flaws. No game is infallible, no game is perfect, but the bigger a fan you are of it, the more criticisms you can have of it, and the more valid those criticisms are, I think. The new game needs more polish. I think so too. Yeah, but even though I have criticisms for Nexus Anima, I do understand it is in a beta phase, or pre-beta phase.
And even ZZZ, I can give credit where credit's due and say
Disney
it's probably one of
gacha
Hoyo's best creations in recent time. It's just not a game for me. And it made me look at things through definitely a critical lens. And I'm sat here looking at these games and thinking, why not focus on making your game better before
there you
trying
go
to get a piece of every pie.
I knew it.
Making a game that fits every niche. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was a few years ago, there was a whole discussion about, I think Hoyo made like a game plan of games that they plan to release, and there was even like first-person shooters on there and stuff, and it feels like what they're trying to do as a company is create a game in every gaming niche, right? So like we've got the open
every
world
subgenre,
RPG,
yeah.
we've got the turn-based, we've got the stage-based, we actually have 2 of those now, with Honkai Impact and ZZZ. We've got the Otome game. And now we're getting a creature taming TFT-based kind of combat game. And
makes more money. It definitely does.
Times where the previous entries like Genshin Impact really suffer in quality, where I feel like with the right resources and the right development behind it, it really could excel and be so much better.
I think that's the common fear everyone has, right? That what Hoyo does is they decide to release a new game and then abandon the previous one. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. They try to make it better, something will be worse in the game.
Not a game developer.
They don't need to do what they know.
Games. I don't know the resources, the manpower, everything like that it takes. But I can't help but think in my own head, instead of, you know, sectioning off this whole like group of employees, these developers, these production team to a brand new game, if it's taken away from other games or not, would it not just be better to invest more into the current games to improve them even more? Because don't get me wrong, and listen, even when Genshin and Honkai Star Rail, maybe even ZZZ, I haven't looked into it, are on like a dry streak, they make millions a month, dude. These are uber successful video games, even at their driest patches. No matter if you love or hate it, I think it's fair to admit they're incredibly successful.
Well, haters like to push that narrative, right? Genshin's dying. Look at that lowest revenue since its release. ZZZ only made 15 million. You know, Honkai Star Rail only made $28 million. And they're the same types of people that criticize Wuthering Waves for, you know, whenever they have a dry patch. Same thing. Business finances are diversifying and not reinvesting. They haven't made an Ultra Gunnar game yet. Not yet, but I'm sure they very well might.
And maybe that's one reason why they maybe don't feel the need to like continuously improve a level that satisfies a like vast majority, at least of the online community.
I think the reason they actually don't improve is because they don't feel the need to. People now just accept that HoYoverse games are a certain quality and offer a certain type of content. And then what happens is that even if they have a shit update, which all 3 games have had pretty crappy updates. Wuwa's had some crappy updates. Nikkei's had some crappy updates. Arknights has had some crappy updates. It doesn't matter. Once you've already garnered that initial like foundation of community, they will stick with your game regardless. So I feel like they don't need to necessarily innovate or improve because they know their players are just going to sit there and eat it all up anyway, or wait for the next one.
I'm fully aware that the overarching player base, the majority of those people,
that's true. NSDK,
online. They're not chronically online. They're not all over Twitter complaining. They're not all over YouTube comments glazing. They're not doing any of that. They're just sat there playing games on their mobile phone on the way to school or on the way to work.
That's most gacha gamers, man.
An hour a day.
People are like, this community is so toxic. Everyone hates it. It's like, dude, the vast majority of people don't even know whatever is being discussed exists.
It's not like the huge target demographic. That's not me. It's not you, right? But I really would think that improving the existing games would be at the forefront of their minds. It's more of a personal frustration, I think, especially lately when I've seen so many good things in these games. Like even the Honkai Star Rail story looks absolutely incredible. It's just still held back by the length, and not just the length, but the amount of like unnecessary information in the quest and the amount of unnecessary length that is added, right? Same with Genshin Impact. The story is absolutely insane, but it's held back by the lack of good story presentation or storytelling. Zenless Zone Zero, I feel like, honestly, dude, I don't know why that game isn't doing absolutely insane. The combat looks
I don't
great.
either. I think ZZZ is actually the best Hoyo game in pretty much every category. I know Genshin players and Star Rail players were like, no, our game is better, but I think ZZZ is the best game they've pushed out.
Character expression.
Never given up about drama in games.
The story looks like good if you enjoy that kind of thing. Literally, for me, the only thing that stops me from playing it is there's too many other gacha games to play, and the fact that it's like stage based instead of like totally open world. I just don't vibe with that as a mainly a combat feature more than anything. But yeah, I'd love to get your guys' opinion on this, dude. I don't know. I think the user-generated content mode in Genshin might actually leave up a little bit of dev time and dev room to be able to work on the existing things in the game.
Not every category. Genuinely curious, what categories do you think Star Rail or Genshin are better in? Because ZZZ has better graphics, ZZZ has better voice acting, ZZZ has better storytelling and story presentation, ZZZ is more degenerate, graphically is better. I don't know a single category where either game could compete. I mean, you could mention the open world, but I mean, ZZZ isn't an open world game, so you can't really compare those features. Better animations? Yeah, ZZZ has better animations too. There you go, exactly.
Keeping each other entertained. But yeah, I don't know how this Honkai Nexus anime is going to do. I'm going to give it a try because I've never really played TFT or any auto chess style game or anything like that.
Neither have I.
So this will be kind of my first introduction to it. Or should I like play TFT first? What do you all think? I genuinely have no idea. I don't know how they work. My only experience is through other like the Genshin event that was kind of TFT-esque. I really have no clue.
I think ZZZ and Star Rail also had TFT
yeah,
events,
I just
right?
feel like they need to slow down a little is my point. These patches are already like once every 6 weeks for each game, right? And I totally understand it's different development teams, but I feel like creating a new development team for a new game is definitely going to be taking away time from the company itself and funds from the company itself that could be implemented into the existing games that are already doing incredibly good.
The reason they don't and they can't and they won't is because people aren't going to care. They could degrade in quality significantly and people will still play it and enjoy it. So,
and I just don't think this Honkai Nexus anime
do you have to though if it's not your type of game? I mean, I have to as a content creator. He has to as a content creator. As content creators, you do have to, yes. As a content creator, unless you are like a game specific content creator, yes, you have to play as many different games as possible, review as many different games as possible, cover as many different games as possible. If you don't, you will fall into obscurity. It's that simple.
Whatever it is going to appeal to that wide of an audience. I could be entirely wrong, and I would be happy to be proven wrong, but same with ZZZ, dude. As soon as it released, I was like, this looks really cool, but I don't see it like stacking up to HSR or Genshin. I don't see it being in the big three, the top three, right? Which is currently Genshin, Star Rail, and Wuwa, which isn't even a Hoyo game. But yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Love and Deep Space is actually bigger than Genshin almost every single month. I think the big three, while we do like to say Star Rail, Genshin, Wuwa, and he's not wrong, I think the big three are actually Honkai Star Rail, which I think like 75% of the year has higher revenue than Genshin does. Love and Deep Space, because almost every single month, Love and Deep Space has higher revenue than Genshin does, although it also doesn't have like PC and PC and console platforms. So I guess if you factor in all platforms, yeah, Wuwa, Star Rail, and Genshin are the big three. But if you're only comparing mobile, which a lot of people love to do based off of the Gacha Revenue website, then the big three are probably Star Rail, Love and Deep Space, and Pokemon TCG. It's only mobile, yeah.
Yeah, it's a confusing time, dude. I feel like they need to slow down, start honing in on specific things, and one of my biggest things with HoYoverse is communication with the community, with content creators, with everything, right? I feel like, just to pick two examples here, the skip button in Genshin Impact. If there is a reason why it's not added yet or at all, I would love to just know it, right? I'd love for the devs to come out and say, look, listen, we've seen the feedback. We listened to it. We know you want this.
It's never happening.
The reason it's not here yet is because, I don't know, we got to go through every single thing in the game previously to implement it, and that takes time, or we just don't want to add it. That would be good, because then we'd know, and a lot of the drama would stop. It'd stop being questioned. Same with
Thank you,
Honkai Star Rail.
23H
The reason we
Gaming.
don't want to like reduce the story by this much is because we feel like this is important, or it's part of the integral story experience, or something along those lines. I feel
No, they just want to drag out the retention. That's it. The longer you're forced to sit through the story, the higher their overall retention for the game. It was bad in communications. A lot of games are, let's be real. I mean, we're still waiting for Arknight's Wenfield, right?
I feel like communication, especially on the Genshin side, is severely lacking, and it's a really big shame, since it is technically, I'm pretty sure, still HoYoverse's biggest game revenue-wise. Maybe Honkai Star Rail is better some months, actually, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me know what y'all think. I kind of just wanted to sit down and yap at y'all today. These kind of videos are few and far between, I feel like, especially about topics like this. Usually it's when something's happened, but realistically now nothing's happened, dude. I just wanted to sit down, chat to y'all about it, get your input on it as well, see what y'all think. But yeah, man, I'd love to see these games improve, and I guess if they ever do release a Battle Royale or an MMO or
Brandon and I have been talking about MMOs extensively, by the way, chat. Like, we, and by we, I mean he, his girlfriend Viv, Mrs. Stix, and I, we're actually planning on playing, like, Where Winds Meet together collectively. We're all hoping an MMO comes out that we can jump into. Like, it turns out Brand is actually a big MMO fan that started with RuneScape many years ago, so it's actually been awesome connecting on not only gachas, but also MMOs. What do you mean, why did I pause? I just hit space, but I'm the pause master. Everyone knows that when playing through trailers, I pause at the perfect moment. For my thoughts on New World, I never really got into it too much. DNA and TZN is my coverage with liking these two games. I know, right? Yeah, same here.
The list of possibilities is fucking endless, brother. It is endless. We'll keep our eye out for future releases if they're not going to slow down, I guess.
Yep. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment, so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.